Chiki was just an average delinquent who had been expelled from school. But when a mysterious stranger attacks him and kills his father, he learns that he has demon blood in his veins and decides to master his powers to get revenge. Long ago, a race of demons called Oni lived in Japan, destroying everything and killing humans as they pleased. No one could dare to stand up against them. But then, a brave man named Mamo emerged as humanity's savior. He attacked the base of the Oni, killing thousands of them. But that was just the beginning of a long war between Mamato and the Oni that continues even in the modern age. Unaware of how this old fairy tale is linked with his destiny, a teenager named Shiki is cleaning his firearm collection while talking to a friend on the phone. He laughs about the fact that he recently got expelled from school because of a fight and says that he doesn't even mind it because he was sick of seeing the ugly face of his classmates each day. Just then, his adoptive dad, Tsuyoshi, arrives there and hits him on the head, demanding him to explain why he got expelled from the school. Shiki tells him to leave him alone, and Suashir moves ahead to hit him one more time for being an ungrateful bastard. But Shiki dodges him this time. Tsuyoshi then asks Shiki what the hell is up with all these guns because they run a wine shop and not a gun shop. Shiki taunts him that the wine shop is barely running because everyone knows that he is losing customers. Tsuyoshi claps back, mocking him for acting so high and mighty after being expelled from school, and Shiki takes it personally. He says that he will never become a loser like Tsuyoshi, and he is really relieved that they are not related by blood. That hurts the old man's feelings, but then he heads downstairs because of a business call. Suashir leaves for a delivery, and Shiki sighs, wishing that some rich man had adopted him instead. He then tries to practice his aim, but an explosion outside the house startles him. He goes outside to see what is happening, but a dense fog blocks his view. Suddenly, a gust of strange black mist shoots out of the fog, and Shiki falls back in shock. The mist follows him, grabbing his leg and dragging him outside before dropping him on the street. As Shiki gets up and wonders what the hell is happening, a scary old man dressed in white appears there, ready to attack him. However, the very next moment, Tsuyoshi returns there and he rams his car into the attacker before telling Shiki to get into the car. He drives away as fast as he can, saying that their only option is to leave the country now. However, Shiki has still not processed what just happened. He asks his dad how could he just kill someone with his car, but Tsuyoshi tells him that the man is not dead yet and they need to get as far away from him as they can. He is really distressed and tells Shiki to listen to him carefully, as they don't have much time. Tsuyoshi tells Shiki that he is a descendant of the Oni, and the guy who just attacked him is the descendant of Mamuro. Shiki tells him to stop joking because it is not the time for that, but Suashir tells him that he is serious. Just then, a blade made of black mist penetrates the car's roof, and Tsuyoshi barely dodges it. He realizes that the attacker has caught up to them, and then suddenly the windows of their car are covered by black mist, completely blinding them. Tsuyoshi stops the car near an abandoned warehouse and quickly gets out of it, telling Shiki that they need to hide immediately. Just then, the car explodes, and when Suashir turns back, he finds that Shiki is missing. Luckily, he sees a trail of black mist entering the warehouse and realizes that his son has been taken. There, inside the warehouse, Shiki finds himself trapped in a giant web made out of the black mist with a scary guy named Samadare standing in front of him. Samadare tells Shiki that the only blood in his veins makes him nothing but a pest, and exterminating such pests is the job of the Maturo agency. Shiki is still in shock that Samadare survived being crushed by a car. But just then, Suashir comes there telling him that the fairy tale of Mamo is a real story. He says that for thousands of years, Mamo and Oni have been at war with each other through their descendants who share their blood. Eventually, the Mamatero descendants joined hands and formed the Mamatero agency, gaining advantage in the battle and forcing the Oni to hide among humans to survive. Shiki still can't understand what is happening, but Tsuyoshi tells him to let Daddy handle it. Samadare suddenly creates two swords out of black mist, and in response, Tsuyoshi also unleashes the same ability to fight him. The two men dash towards each other, clashing their blades and releasing a powerful shockwave. So Yoshi somehow pushes Samadare back, but he calls him weaker than he used to be back. Then, Samadare explains that the black mist is the unique ability only the descendants of Mamato can use, and Yoshi was once his senior in the Maturo agency. Shiki is aghast on learning that his dad is a descendant of Mamo, but Tsuyoshi says that he has forgotten about that entirely. Samadare asks him if he has also forgotten how dangerous Oni are. He declares that for the crimes of sheltering an Oni, Tsuyoshi will also be eliminated. Tsuyoshi responds by attacking him first, but he and Samadare are equally matched in strength. Shiki can only watch their crazy fight in bewilderment, while Samadare asks Suashur, why is he protecting a monster who only lives for destruction? Tsuyoshi tells him to shut up and tries dealing serious damage to him, but Samadare is much faster than he expected. He easily dodges the attack and then hits Tsuyoshi with a super fast combo, severely injuring him and knocking him out. Shiki is devastated on seeing his dad bleed out, and he curses Samadare, saying that he will kill him. Samadare, however, tells him that he is going to go to the afterlife with his dad soon. Just then, Tsuyoshi grabs his feet and Samadare asks him why is he going this far to protect an Oni, and he replies that he needs no reason to protect his son. He says that Shiki has not harmed anyone yet, is wrong to kill him just because he has only blood. Samadare just creates a black mist sword to finish him off, and the rage boiling inside Shiki finally hits its limit. As his eyes turn red, he swears that he will kill the bastard who is trying to hurt his dad, and his demonic powers awaken. He starts bleeding from every pore of his face, and his demonic horns sprout out of his head. Shiki yells that he will kill Samadare, and when the man turns around to see him, he finds that Shiki is no longer restrained by the web. The very next moment, a bunch of guns made out of blood pop up next to his face. But thanks to his quick reflexes, he manages to block all the shots. However, Shiki has already moved on from that location, and while Samadare wonders where he is hiding, he notices blood dripping from the rooftop where Shiki is hanging upside down like a deranged Batman. Seeing his blood-covered form, Samadare realizes that Shiki has awakened, and now he can fight by manipulating his blood. But that is not even the scariest thing about fighting an Oni. Suddenly, Shiki lunges towards him, pushing him back with his powerful stripes. Samadare quickly flips the table on him, slashing his arm off, but Shiki jumps back and instantly regrows his arm. He then screams madly, and Samadare begins to sweat because he realizes that this fight is not going to be easy. Shiki manifests his power in the form of numerous guns made out of blood, and Samadare is forced to use all his strength and speed to block the bullets. Just then, Shiki fires a freaking missile at him, and thanks to his instincts, Samadare dodges it by a very small margin, and the rocket explodes. Behind him, the old man is forced to run away from Shiki's ruthless assault, but then he throws his sword at him, hoping to take him down quickly. However, that is not nearly enough, as Shiki quickly reaches him and kicks him away. Samadare is too tired and injured to move fast enough, and Shiki steps on his face before unloading a full military battalion worth of ammo on his ass. However, Samadare somehow manages to get away with his life even though he is terribly injured. He curses Shiki, but then suddenly Shiki collapses and the guns made of blood shatter. His only transformation is undone, and as he stares at his bloody hands, Shiki loses his mind, wondering what the hell just happened here. Samadare recalls this as a typical reaction of people who awaken their Oni powers for the first time. With his remaining power, he summons a black mist sword again, deciding to finish his job right now. However, just as he is about to stab Shiki, Tsuyoshi jumps in between them, sacrificing himself to save his son. Samadare asks him how he could risk his life to save the boy even after seeing the monster he became. Tsuyoshi just thinks of how Shiki was a cute little boy and tells his old friend that it was not a bad thing to be a happy father even if it was for a short period. Just then some civilians gather at the site after hearing the explosion and call the fire department, and Samadare decides to retreat for now. He turns into black mist and vanishes, leaving the injured Tsuyoshi and the confused Shiki alone. Shiki panics and tells his dad that he will call an ambulance, but he asks him to stop because he knows this is the end. He just wants to talk to his son one last time at the end. Tsuyoshi tells him that he could never tell him about his only lineage because that would mean telling him that there are people out to kill him. But now he can only ask Shiki to become strong enough to defeat both Mamoru and Oni so that he can live freely and happily. However, Shiki shouts at him to shut up because he is not done with him yet. He begins taking him outside, saying that they will talk after he gets better, and Tsuyoshi just smiles at him once before breathing his last. As he falls to the ground, Shiki loses his mind. He tries to wake him up first and then starts crying uncontrollably. Soon after that, a man on roller skates arrives there, and when Shiki turns around to see him, he knocks him out with a single tap to his head before taking him away to a place where only like him, can become stronger. While he, part, is unconscious, Shiki dreams of the happy moments when he used to play in the park under his dad's watchful eyes. But then the dream turns dark abruptly, with Tsuyoshi dying at Samadere's hand. Shiki wakes up with a jolt as he stares into the bloodshot eyes of Samadere. But when he looks around, he finds himself gagged and tied to a chair in a large, empty hall. Right behind him, the skater guy who kidnapped him is doing one-arm handstand push-ups with his umbrella, and he gets back on his feet as soon as he sees Shiki awake. The edgelord introduces himself as Nato, a fellow Oni, and quickly manifests his horns. Shiki is too confused by everything, and he can't even pay attention to Nato, who refuses to tell him where they are right. Now, he informs him that his dad's body is stored safely in another place, and he brought him here for retrieval and evaluation. Nato then suddenly skates to the whiteboard in the corner and drags it closer to Shiki before flexing how fast and efficient it is to use roller skates instead of walking. Next, he begins explaining the Mamatero agency to Shiki, saying that he has already seen one guy who can control the black mist and use it like a weapon. The Matero agency finds and hunts on, and in response, the Oni created their own agency to fight back. Nato says that his job is to find newly awakened Oni like Shiki and bring them to a safe place where he can evaluate if they are worthy of joining the Oni agency. With that brief intro, he puts the whiteboard back in its place and then removes Shiki's gag so that he can interview him. As soon as he removes the gag, Shiki starts yelling at him to free him. He also curses Nato, threatening to kill him if he has harmed his dad's body, and Nato immediately deducts a point from his score that is already 0. He calls Shiki __ for not understanding what safely stored means because he mentioned it a couple minutes earlier. Shiki gets mad at him and says there is no way he can trust a shady edge lord like him, and Nato wasn't expecting anything else from him. He decides to deduct more points from Shiki's score the more he curses and demands to be set free, telling him to cooperate if he wants to pass the evaluation. Shiki doesn't give about the evaluation, but he wants to be free quickly, so he tries holding his anger. However, he can't even do that properly, and Nato tells him to stop, giving him the creepy look. Shiki snaps on hearing this, and Nato decides to evaluate him using a non-standard method because normal things don't seem to work. With nut jobs, he takes off his tie, and before Shiki can even realize what is going on, Nato uses the tie to strangle him with his full strength. Shiki panics as he loses his breath, and Nato says that a creature's true nature is revealed when it is close to death, and that is what he wants to see. Shiki tries to resist with his full strength, but he can't get out of the chokehold. Even after bleeding from every hole on his face, he soon loses consciousness, and Nato is disappointed in him. But the blood that Shiki just lost awakens as a result of its power. It turns into sharp spikes and attacks Nato, who dodges the attack without much difficulty. Suddenly, he finds a Gatling gun made of blood pointing at his head, and behind it Shiki is in his berserker state. He opens fire at Nato and then backs away after he is satisfied, but his attacks didn't even touch the edge lord, who protected himself by coating his umbrella in his blood. He deducts points from Shiki score because he doesn't even know how to use his only blood, and then decides to show him how it is actually done, even though he won't remember anything once the berserker state ends. Shiki suddenly lunges towards him, but Nato is prepared for everything.